crisis situation forces us to do things differently in order to survive. But as we emerge from that initial response period, it's important to lift our heads and start to think about what are the things that we will choose to do, that we want to do, as opposed to the things that we're being forced to do out of a set of circumstances. It's often really difficult to know where to start with that. There's so much learning and so much that has changed. It's hard to know where to begin. We've developed a really helpful tool to enable leaders and leadership teams to begin the discussion, to start to plan, to embed new ways of working that will become their normal. Our approach looks at new ways of working and previous ways of working and helps us make some deliberate decisions about things that we want to do in the future out of choice and things that we should consign to the past and stop doing. We categorize the ways of working into 4 areas. The first category is in the top left corner. Now, these are new ways of working that we've had to implement probably to survive or to get us through a tough period, to keep the lights on and get through the crisis. But they're probably not things that are sustainable or desirable in terms of future ways of working. So where that's the case, we'd look to end those new ways of working. Second category is in the bottom left corner. Now, these are old ways of working that we've probably known were not that helpful and probably wanted to stop, but a crisis and a set of circumstances has given us the prompt or the impetus that we needed to actually stop doing those things. And the important thing here is we're making a decision not to start doing those things again. So we would look to drop those ways of working. The third category is in the top right-hand corner. Now, these are new ways of working that have been introduced, but things that we think have got legs, things that we think will benefit us in the future and have some long-term sustainability about them in terms of new ways of working. So these things may have been stopgaps initially, but actually we've seen some benefit in them. They're probably not perfect. So we'd look to develop these ways of working. And the final category is in the bottom right-hand corner. Now, these are previous ways of working that we've decided to stop, either because we have not been able to do everything that we wanted to, and we've had to make some difficult decisions over what to prioritize, or they weren't appropriate for the time that might be getting us through a particular crisis or a particular time period. So these are previous ways of working, but that we want to reintroduce. So things that we want to do by choice that we want to go back to. The difference here is we might want to restart them in the same way we worked previously, or we might have some learning or some insight or some thoughts about how we might do it differently. So for these previous ways of working, we would look to either restart them or to reinvent them. So as you can see, that would be a really useful exercise to carry out, to start to do some deliberate thinking about what are the things that we want to do and what are the things that we don't want to do for future. But it is just a starting point. So out of those 4 categories, there'll be further work and further thinking to be done to put a plan of action in place that will start to embed new ways of working and make meaningful change out of the back of a crisis that sticks. If this is something that you're having trouble with or you think we might be able to help you with, get in touch. Use the email at the end of this video.